following broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of this.
Well, Bishop, here we are again for another episode of TTL Talk Therapy Live, where it's all the way live.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are right here. This is 1580 The Praise. This is a gold chip communication station. We are right here on TTL. We call it Talk Therapy Live. This is where we inspire, we educate, and we inform you. And we're doing that. We're here with the host today, and the host is that
Kimberly Bozeman.
I wasn't finished, but hey, I was going to get it right.
Pausing for me to fill in.
Well, I was getting emotional.
Oh, you were?
When I thought about who the host was.
So
you know what I mean? So I was feeling a
yeah.
certain kind of way. But however, we're glad to be in the place.
Tell me a little bit about the emotions.
Well, the emotions, right? You often tell us to sit with it when you feel something. So I was trying to sit with it just at the wrong time.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're on air. We're on the show.
True story.
But I'm glad to be here. What's up?
But if you all want to listen live, go to www.1580thepraise.com and click on Listen Live. And if you're listening live and you want to come in and talk to us live, go to Talk Therapy Live on your Facebook page.
Live. You remember that back in the day, it's live. It's not Memorex or something like that.
You yes.
With the tape that would get hung up in the...
Exactly. Yeah, I do remember. You went way back.
I went way back.
Yeah.
I did.
But that was some good stuff, though.
It was.
You know,
I have some...
Except for when your tapes break, right?
Yeah, or they get hung up in
and you have to take a pin and you have to try to wind it.
I have some good memories on some of those tapes, but hey, I don't know who to take them to.
I'm sure there's some way you can
some way things are going to work out.
They're going to work out all way.
Clay Evans, all the way from Chicago Fellowship Baptist Church.
Well, thank you for the shout out. Y'all come on in. When you come in, automatically hit the share button, hit the like button. We have so much powerful information. And as we always say, Talk Therapy Live is your platform. It's my heart's desire, because oftentimes people cannot afford to go to therapy, right?
Right.
You know, so this is a free platform, but it's free, but it ain't cheap.
It's not cheap at all.
It is some good information.
Sound like salvation. It's free, but it ain't cheap.
It's not. Somebody paid the price.
Jesus paid it all.
And I paid it all when I went to college. I went to grad school. I paid it all to give it to you.
Lord.
Open up and receive ye the words of Kimberly B. and Bishop Marvin C. Bozeman.
Yeah, we're right here, y'all. Wonderful day it is. It's a sunshiny day. But, you know, even though the sun is shining, there are some they're just not doing well today.
That's so true. So true.
The curtains are closed, drawn together. But we have some good information that we want to share with you today. And hopefully it inspires you, it educates you, and it informs you.
That's right. And you all feel free to chime in.
Please do that.
Because today's topic is something that all of us in this life has experienced and will continue to experience. So today we're talking about how to heal from the hurt of disappointment.
How to heal from the hurt of disappointment.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It is. It's amazing that you would say that, because, man, we're in a time where there's a lot of hurt people.
It is a lot of hurt people.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, hey, we need to learn how to heal from it so we can move on.
Because life within itself can be disappointing.
It can be disappointing. There can be gray skies when the skies are blue.
Yes.
All of that. It comes out of nowhere.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
You're going to give us, I know, some good information that's going to actually set us in the right direction so we can begin to heal.
Yeah, my friend Mary Stevenson is
Good
here.
morning.
Good morning. Do me a favor, sis. Go ahead and hit the share and the like button. Go ahead and just do that now off the rip, so that people will be exposed to this information.
All right. We got on red today.
We got on red.
I don't know how it wasn't planned. It just kind of worked out that way.
But we flow like that.
It just let me see. Is it, it's not Valentine's Day.
For us, it's Valentine's Day every day.
Well, look at that. Okay, I got you. So just a love.
Yes.
Got you.
Love will keep us together.
All right. So don't say no more. Don't, please. It's nice. Yeah. Nice.
Oh my goodness. All right. So the topic again is how to heal from the hurt of your disappointments, because we know that disappointments can lead to bitterness, to resentment, to depression. Not necessarily in that order, but these are the components that can come from disappointments. And a lot of times people don't know that they are depressed, but if you have symptoms of like you've been disappointed, you've been let down, you've been hurt by somebody, and then you go through things like all of a sudden you have a lack of interest and things that you used to love doing, right? But you have no more interest. There's a lack of interest. You have a lack of motivation. You don't really feel like doing anything at all.
Yes.
You said what?
I said, go ahead.
I have been trained to listen to people and to look at people. See, hey, Mary, when he do that, he trying to avoid stuff, right?
Oh my goodness.
You said I'm funny.
Yeah, you're humorous. I love this part of your person.
No.
Yeah. All right, keep going.
Okay.
I love this. Wonderful.
All right. Again, you can have a lack of interest.
Yes.
Lack of motivation to do anything at all. You're lethargic. Basically, it's kind of like you're trying to make yourself do stuff. Gotcha. Almost like you're walking around in a fog. Okay. And then you have lack of energy and lack of focus. So if you have experienced, especially after a letdown, you know that you have basically internalized the disappointment. Okay. And this is your body's way of speaking to you about what's going on. Like, hey, you have not processed this. You have not worked through it. You have not let it go. And these are the symptoms of what you're going through. And I have to speak for myself too, because I know that oftentimes when I am disappointed, I tend to internalize. And I think I've been that way all my life. I just go within and begin to process, you know what I mean? And I process within. I don't like incorporating other people into my problems per se, but then I know at a time I have to say something so that I can set myself free. Because as long as we don't and we internalize, those thoughts begin to ruminate.
So I just put a minute in my mouth.
Good morning, mother child.
But that's a lot of people's response to the disappointments in their life, right? I don't want to unload my problems on you because you probably have your own. So therefore, you're going to keep quiet about it, So it's kind of like the natural response to how we handle with these human experiences that we have. We keep them to ourselves until we feel comfortable enough, or we feel like we suppressed it down at a good place where we feel like we're okay.
Yeah. And the trouble that we run into when we handle disappointments like that, we suppress them. So when we suppress them, we push them down, and we're pressing them down. And the question is, what type of soil are we pressing it down into?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
something's going to grow up out of that. Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's what we can refer to as bitter roots.
Okay.
And we'll definitely, get into what bitter roots are because it's inevitable. The Bible says that a curse doesn't come without a cause, so if we're pressing down that stuff and we're developing bitter roots, it's going to develop into something else. So it's very important that we know that we have a support system. We
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that there's certain
Yeah.
people in our lives that we can go to, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we know that.
Right.
We don't want to bother people. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
want them to be bothered with my problem.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that most people who love you want to be there for you.
Yeah. Whether or not if they have the answer you're looking for,
Right.
sometimes it's just good to be able to express
Yeah.
what it is that you feel in that moment. They may not have the answer at all, but at least you're able to verbalize it, communicate it to someone else, get it off of yourself.
Mhm.
And I believe if you release it in that way, it kind of helps clear the clutter in your mind.
And there will be a clutter in your mind and a clutter in your heart. There
Yeah.
will be a blockage there.
Yeah.
Because those emotions will definitely affect your cardiovascular system.
Okay.
It can cause high blood pressure.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now
That's
your veins that they're constricted now, and the blood flow can't flow properly because of the stress. So it affects your digestive system. Now you can't eat. Your stomach's messed up. Your irritable bowel syndrome. All of that stuff is from suppressing our emotions. But disappointments is something that we will all face. So in order to have a disappointment, we know that there's a level of expectancy.
Most definitely.
If I don't expect something from someone, then they can't disappoint me.
There's no disappointment there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we all kind of deal with it, for different ages, age groups. It's really difficult when parents promise children something,
yes,
and they don't come through on what they promised.
Yes,
now,
those
are the ones it's kind of hard to recover from.
Yes.
And if you keep doing it,
yes,
that messes up a child.
As adults, we have coping mechanisms that we can learn. As children, we're open and we're vulnerable because we look at our parents as heroes.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're the best thing. They're like God and goddesses to us as children. So when you don't come through, you break our spirits.
Yeah, most definitely.
So like you said, Bishop, that is very, very hard to come back through because I'm always talking about conclusions that we come to based on the experiences that we have. So if you have a child and, they're constantly, the parents are not coming through on what they say, this child is learning distrust. Like, I can't trust anyone.
Yeah. And they'll grow up being that way and will use that as their reason to why it is. It's hard for them to trust anybody.
That's right.
And life will take a hold of that. And it seems as if every relationship that you try to find yourself, to trust someone, it kind of goes back into the place of how it began for you.
Right. Yes, that's right.
So this is why I don't trust anybody.
That's right. Yeah. And we call those triggers. You go right back to the trigger. But I want to talk a little bit while we're on the topic of the bitter root judgments, because Hebrews 12:15 says to see to it that no root of bitterness springing up causes trouble, and by it many have already been defiled. So we know that bitter root will certainly, because you can have a bitter root even as that child. I will never get married. If this is the way married people act,
you don't want to be.
I'm not ever getting married. And you have those. So you grow up and you sabotage relationships and you don't know why, but it's because those bitter roots. So bitter roots are sinful reactions to a situation that happens in our life.
And so this is why we need someone to express and to unload on, so to speak, and to get it off of our chest, as I stated previously, to clear the clutter, because then if we come to professionals such as yourself, then we can get to the root of the situation. We have to get, if we don't do that, then what we're doing is skimming off things that are on the top. We're only dealing with surface circumstances.
Yeah.
You're not getting down to the root of the situation.
Yeah.
So coming to talk to you is going to help me, but then you're going to give me some coping mechanisms, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to give me a way out that would cause me several ways, so to speak,
Yes.
so that I can choose which is going to be the best path for me.
And a lot of
to come
times
out of this.
people come to me because they're tired
Yeah.
of being angry.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
tired
Yeah.
of being stuck
Mhm.
in that trap,
Yeah.
you know, of unforgiveness and
Yeah.
all the things that arise out of
Mhm.
unforgiveness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
come to me because you're tired. And if you come to me because you're tired, that means that you're willing to put the work in
Yeah.
to set yourself free.
Yeah. And if you do that, it will work. A lot of people come already knowing, correct me if I'm wrong, knowing what to do, but they just need to hear the right words from someone else on how to do it.
Sometimes,
You know, like they need validation from a professional or someone who, is able to give me better information than what I receive. I need to know that my thoughts are on the right track.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
exactly. You know, a lot of times clients, they have an idea of what they need to do, but oftentimes therapy is not what you think it is. Like the problem that you came in with is seldom the problem.
Gotcha. Most definitely.
That's why we journey.
That.
That's why we journey back, and clients have that aha moment.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I never connected the two.
Yeah.
You know, and this is why it's good to come to therapy instead of going to someone close to you that you're on the same educational level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it's good to talk about it, but then it's good to see a professional also. That's why we're professionals in the field.
I think what hurts us, what hurts people the most is I ain't telling nobody if I'm business. I'm not telling anybody my business.
Right.
First thing to say, I'm not telling nobody my business.
Yes.
I'm not doing that. So when you don't tell, you keep. And then, as you say, you suppress it, and it gets pressed, and now here comes some roots coming about. Of your mess.
Yes, you cannot benefit by not talking about. We have to be able to expose it. It's just like in AA. You know, they cannot help you until you admit that you have a problem. You know, so the only thing that gets in the way is your pride and the ego. You know, and so you can't get help like that. You know, so you know it will definitely develop the bitter roots, and bitter roots is like condemning judgments
on yourself
and other people who have let you down. You know, and it's so hard because sometimes these people are no longer here, like they have passed away, you know what I mean? But you still have these condemning judgments, like, how could they have this? Or how could they not have before they passed away? You know, just all these things. And it's not too late to heal from that stuff.
Yeah. We had a class that you taught. We were dealing with the inward child classes. And one of the things that you did was for those who were not able to divulge that type of information to the person that hurt them, you had us to write letters.
That's right. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that even though they have passed on, they're gone.
That's right.
And I think you had something set up where you talked to the chair or whatever it was, but it was a way for you to get that out of you because they're gone now.
That's
right. What do? You do you hang on to that?
No.
You know, I mean, you know.
Emotions expressed is better than emotions suppressed.
Got you.
So you can express them in word.
Yeah.
You can express them in deed, as for instance, if you have like unforgiveness or anger or bitterness, you know, you may have a punching bag in your garage, or you may have some wood out there that you may want to chop. You are still expressing and you're getting it out of your body, you know. And then the other thing is to journal, to write it down on paper. It's better on paper than it is in your mind.
Gotcha.
You know, because again, that rumination, when you go to lay down at night, these things are going to keep going round and round and round. So one thing about disappointments is writing down who disappointed you and what was the issue.
Okay.
This is your
Okay.
paper.
Mm-hmm.
No one has to see it. And you could say, I resent Johnny
Mm-hmm.
because he lied to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He
Yeah.
was supposed to come through for me. Just journaling this stuff. And the good thing about journaling, you don't have to keep the journal. You can tear it up.
Yeah.
You can burn it. You know, some people are afraid to write down stuff because they don't know who's in their house looking at stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but you can tear it up,
Mm-hmm.
and you can throw it away. The main thing is that you are not abandoning yourself, because you must validate yourself.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Your emotions are valid.
Yeah.
They're valid.
Mm-hmm.
Ija Trout says, does holding in your emotions cause sickness or problems? Yes, yes, yes.
You
yes.
always say the body keeps the score.
The body keeps the score.
So it's going to show up through high blood pressure. It's going to
Yes.
show up through your temperament.
Yes.
All of that, you know,
Yes.
what used to be, you know, happy look turns into a mean, evil smile.
Right. Yes. Yes. And you know, the list can go on and on. Some people may have hair loss,
Gotcha.
or some people may have backaches, or some people may have
both of those. But go ahead. Hair and back. My Lord.
Because the body keeps the score.
Yeah.
Right. So we know that holding on to emotions, toxic emotions, is toxic to your body. And the word is toxicity in your body. Why are we holding on to that stuff?
Yeah.
So we have to demonstrate self-love.
Yeah.
I love myself enough to work through the issues.
It's almost like it's mine to deal with. That's how the attitude of some was. It's mine to deal with.
But how are you dealing with it?
The way that they always have.
and ignoring is not dealing with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So you can't have your head in the sand and think that you're dealing with your issues.
Right.
You know, you have to actively, what are you doing? You have to put some action behind that.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, some people go running. You know what I mean? But they're still working it out of their bodies. Like when animals, horses, and dogs, when they get like certain emotions that is too much for them, they'll begin to shake it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll shake it off, and then they go on about their business. They don't keep dwelling on like dogs. You can be so mean to them or whatever, and you will see them just shake that off. Then they come back and they start licking your hand, and they don't dwell on it.
Exactly.
They've dealt with it, and they keep it moving.
So we need to get those things off of us.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We need to get them off.
Yeah. Yeah, because disappointments, people are just people. People are full of, we just have a bent towards sin. You know what I mean? So people will disappoint you whether if they know it or not, or whether if they acknowledge it or not. So the question is, what are we going to do with that disappointment?
Yeah, because the goal of the person who has been disappointed is to not be disappointing, or to not disappoint others.
Yes.
That's their goal. You know, I don't want to disappoint nobody.
Right.
That's their goal. I do not want to disappoint anyone.
But you know what? It just
but it happens.
It happens.
And so when it happens and you do disappoint someone, then you fall into a deep, dark place. You never wanted to do that.
Right.
Because it's been done to you so many times.
Yes.
So when you apologize, and every time you see him 30 times a day, I apologize, I'm sorry, I apologize. You know?
And we don't have to do that.
Yeah,
you
but
know
it's just how you have felt by that.
Right.
And you caused that to happen to someone else.
But Bishop, this comes from people of character and integrity.
Yeah.
And these dark days that we live in today, you find that less and less. I don't care if it's in the church. I don't care where it is. People, it's less and less that we find people It can be pastors or bishops or apostles or pews. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, what do we do with that?
Yeah.
Because you hate to not be able to trust people at their word.
It's just that, especially in the church realm, if we're not careful, we take on the mindset, the lifestyle, and the character of our counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we kind of, if we're not careful, that culture will come into the church, or that culture will become a part of ours.
Uh-huh.
Our
Mm-hmm.
mindset.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do exactly the way they do, because everyone's doing it. It's easy to do. Easy to do.
Yeah, but we going back to our own values.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have something in the beginning.
Yeah, so going back to being that person of character and say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
And if by chance I fall through, then have that conversation.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just like, the child that gets stood up by the parent, that child is disappointed. That child wouldn't be, the child would be disappointed, but that child wouldn't deal with abandonment issues if the mother or the father would call the child and say, you know what, Jeffrey, I would have loved to come pick you up today, but this came up and maybe we can do it another day.
Just communicate that.
Yes.
Yeah, just communicate that.
Yes. And that doesn't take much, because now, today, we have cell phones.
Yeah.
And it's a text away.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may not want to deal with the disappointment of hearing your child's let down, or their child's disappointment. Text them, sweetie, I can't come today.
Yeah.
Owning up to your responsibilities, but having that unforgiveness and having the inability to forgive, because we feel like, oh no, they don't deserve my forgiveness.
Right, most definitely. And because you grow up that way, if it happens and continues to happen, then you're going to grow up and have that mindset.
Right.
And it's not good.
It's a two-edged sword, though, because you're hurting them by not forgiving them, but then you're hurting yourself. Yeah. And again, because Mom Trout asked us, holding on to emotions cause. So now we're holding on to unforgiveness.
Yeah. Well, it's going to build up.
Yes.
I mean,
it's going to turn into rage.
But after you suppress them, there's no room.
You're going to blow up. You're going to implode and then explode. Yeah, especially if you see them. It's like, oh, I cannot believe you here today. What are you here for?
Right. Right. Yeah.
It's going to be all bad, because now we have a rage. And we don't want to give them space to try to make it right.
Right.
So it goes back to us, that challenging us to be the change that we want to see in others.
What this scenario, right? If you see the person quite often, right? And you want them to say something, because they know the disappointment that they have inflicted on you, and they never acknowledge it. They never say anything about it, but it's always on you. Every time you see them, you're reminded. Every time you see them, you're reminded, and you all hee ha ha.
Right.
You're like everything is good, and oh yeah. But inside, you really want to tell them in that moment, how it is that you feel. How should you handle that? Because it may not come out the best way.
It
may make matters worse.
Exactly. So I think that we have to realize what's going on. And sometimes when people have hurt you like that, it's very, very hard for them to own up to that. You know what I mean? They don't know how to face you. They don't know how to deal with you. So they're really functioning in guilt and shame. They're reminded like you're reminded.
Right. Got you.
They know no one has to tell them what they did to you. You know what I mean? But they may not have put the work in to be able to come to you and to apologize.
They don't know how to express it or whatever.
Right. It hurt. It's too painful to deal with it. So now I'm going to try to act like everything is okay.
Right.
But for you have to put the work in and say, I have come to realize that I may not ever get an apology from them. So now I have to try to become more empathetic and more understanding. Like this person I know has been messed up since they've been in the world, because they went their father abandoned them, or
Yeah.
they were abused as a child and they were abandoned and they was raised by the streets, and just becoming more empathetic and becoming more understanding, which will lead you to forgiveness and healing. So we have to make sure that we forgive. We have to make sure that we're healed, so that when we encounter these people, we don't have that level of expectation, because you're going to be disappointed over and over again.
Do you think it's possible, if you've gone through the stages of being healed, that when you do see this person, you know how to approach them, and you know how to allow them to know how you felt, or what it is that they've done to you, how it had made you feel over this amount of years, right? You'll have time to think about what words you're going to choose to use. In order to express.
And with forgiveness,
because I look at it like this: if that happens, then you can. It gives them an opportunity what they're not willing to approach in that moment, and you do. You know, then it gives healing to both at that time. You know, because it's like,
but what happens?
I wanted to,
but what happens if you do that and they're still not ready? Then you're re-triggered again.
Well, you have to be healed, as we started. Only if you're healed in this area, because you going into it, you know what could happen.
Yes.
So even if it doesn't go this way, I'm still good.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mom Trout says sometimes we need to forget and to forgive, because forgiveness does not always require a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That whole piece is done between you and God. You know, God, and it takes God to help you.
And the forgetting part, I don't think will come. It's just that I think you forget about it, meaning that you
let go.
You let it go, and you won't, when you see them, it's
And that's what forgiveness is.
We've grown,
right?
We've grown a little bit here, so
Forgiveness is foregoing the intense emotions.
Is it worth not having you in my life, right? We all make mistakes, right? And depending on how long ago, how deep the wound is, you have, at some place, you have to grow, especially if you are a believer, right? So we have to make sure that we show that part of Christ's character in our lives.
But the thing is that we practice forgiveness and we say it, but then we don't go on towards the emotional healing. So forgiveness is a two-step process.
And like you say, you have to practice. Practice forgiving.
Because it comes over time. It's a process, right? It doesn't happen at one setting.
Right. Practice forgiving. Like we practice everything else, practice that.
Right. You know, so once you become made whole, you have forgiven and you receive the emotional healing, then you're able to be around those people without any expectations at all. That if this person comes up to you and say, you know what, I want you to forgive me, you'll be able to say to them, you know what, I forgave you a long time ago.
Yeah, most definitely.
We limit our level of expectations, because again, expectations causes great disappointments if they're not met. If they're not met. So sometimes we do just have to let it go and allow the Holy Spirit to do a work in us. We have to lay on the potter's table, like, Lord, you know, but you know I'm still angry. You know I hate them. You know everything that is within me. So withholding nothing, God, take out everything that is not from you, because the truth of the matter is that we received a lot from the enemy. And we felt justified doing that.
That's true.
You know, so Lord, take anything that is not, I'm laying on your surgical table and I don't want to get up until it's gone. You know, so when I see them, I'm no longer triggered. But we have to work through it.
Have to work through it. And so the work that needs to be done is not always on the other person. You're asking him to work on you.
That's who it's all about, right?
You need stuff taken out of you. Whether or not if they ever acknowledge, if they ever change, then now your heart is fixed. Your mind is made up.
That's right. But because why should I allow you to impact me? You've already hurt me. You've already disappointed me. Why am I going to continue to live a life, you know, where I give you power over me? I want to free myself of you. Because you're not worthy of me.
And when I say I love you, I mean it.
Because this is a God thing.
Yeah.
This is the love of God. This is now agape love at its best.
So you want to respond right.
Yes.
You don't want to say I love you and then you don't mean it.
Right. So the
it's
thing.
Like I love you. Say, yeah, I love you too.
You like, thank you.
Yeah, you understand. You just don't say, mm-hmm.
Right. You like, well, you
Mm-hmm.
got a strange way of showing it.
Yeah.
Because for some of us, we feel like if you love me, you would come back and apologize.
Right.
But people function on different levels.
I guess you have to see it like that because what level you on?
Right. Yeah. And to them, they probably feel like if I don't bring it up, then I can't re-injure them. So now I'm going to go on as if everything is okay, when we both know that it's not. There has to be some type of conversation, or there needs to be some type of healing that is going on. And sometimes the Holy Spirit will lead you to go to this person. And if they never say anything, it's okay for you to go to them and say, you know what? I want you to know that I've forgiven you. Yeah.
Wow. I ain't done nothing to you. What you talking about?
Okay. We're going to leave it right there.
I've never done anything to you. I don't know what you mean.
See, that's
forgiving me.
Yeah, that's denied. It's okay because
what
you're
you mean
here.
It's okay? But that's how people respond. If you come with that type of, Christ-like attitude to someone else, I've never done anything to you.
Yeah,
hurt you.
Right. But you know what? We have to allow people to be whoever they are. Yeah. If that's how you flow, that's how you get down, you're demonstrating who you are, have at it. Yeah. Have at it.
So check this out real quick. If going back to the child who's disappointed, right? So maybe you have a single father where the mother disappoints coming to pick the children up, right? Or the child up. And not only are the children disappointed, but also the custodial parent is disappointed because you keep doing this.
Yes.
Would it be safe, not just for the children to go to counseling and try to work their way through that, but also the parent?
Which you're talking about the custodial parent?
Correct. Yeah, for all of them to go and better deal with this situation so that the negative thoughts and actions of that parent does not spill over on the children.
Yes. It's always a good idea to go to counseling. Yeah. Whenever you go to counseling, you're going to benefit from that.
But I'm talking about as a whole, as a group.
As a group. Yes, sir. Yeah. And then you have to set parameters. You have to set boundaries. If you have a biological parent that continues to lie to the child and is causing the entire family distress, you have to set boundaries. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you've done this one too many times, and we're not going to continue to allow that happen. Yeah. So until you can make some changes, then, we need to go to court, or you just don't need to see them as often because you're hurting them. So there just have to be some boundaries.
Because your response to that person that you share children with, number one, is going to be negative. It's going to be ugly. And then at the same time, now the children are disappointed at you because even though the person that disappointed them, they still love.
Right.
And you don't say nothing bad about them.
Yeah, for the time being.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Until they grow up and see. But I'm just saying, if you're dealing with little children, why is she talking to daddy like that?
Right. Because children have a natural bond towards their biological parents. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a fairy tale. You know what I mean? It's like my parents are bad to me, but I love them. Yeah. So we're going to find some type of good in them. Yeah. And we kind of
be scared to death when you see them.
We make excuses for them. And then we say, well, maybe they didn't come because here comes the conclusions. I'm a bad person. Yeah. Maybe they didn't come because I'm not important. So we put the blame on us instead of the parent.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a whole lot to deal with from a child. And they grow up with that, and they always, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes. You did nothing, but
no,
forgot
seriously.
To sign your name on the paper.
It goes back to the conclusions, and it goes back to what the agreements. What have we agreed to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
About ourselves. Did we agree that we
Yeah.
were a terrible person? Did we
Yeah.
agree that we were unlovable?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have to be careful of what we come into agreement with.
So when you sit and you think about it, how it feels to be disappointed, but then you're the person now who's doing the disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is it that you have acquired that by that learned behavior? You've learned how to do that yourself. You didn't want to, but you've learned that skill.
That's right. You have learned that skill,
Yeah.
and don't forget about the bitter roots
Yeah.
that you have in you.
Yeah.
There's no tree that will develop healthy if the roots are rotten.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Most
You kind of do it to yourself. You turn into something that you don't like. And that's why, you know, you often hear from my own testimony how unforgiveness began to turn me into someone that I did not like.
Because you want to grow. They say a tree grows two ways. It grows up and it grows down.
Yes.
So you can be growing upward physically, but inwardly, you're still right there.
Yes.
You
have to go back and you have to dig up those bitter roots and begin to plant new seeds into your subconscious field. You know, like the new seeds would be, I am not the problem. You know, I am worthy of love. I am not a disappointment. You know, so you begin to plant new seeds into your subconscious field. So you bring about, now your roots can be well nourished. You know, so you can grow up strong and healthy.
You're growing and that's why you need a good support system when it comes to growing, because when you grow, you want to grow up straight.
That's right. You must have a good support system.
I know when they plant trees, whenever they plant trees, that they always put the support system on the tree. You know, so that the tree can grow up and not grow bent over or whatever the case may be. So as we are growing and developing, we do need that good support system that will help us to grow up straight.
That's right. But we cannot have a good support system if we're not willing to divulge what's going on with us. We can't have a good support system if we internalize, because if we internalize, people around us may think that we're okay.
Most definitely.
You know, so being able to talk to someone and be able to get some good feedback and to listen to that feedback is going to be critical.
So family need to know that there are people such as yourself, professionals. It is getting that thought of going to go see a counselor.
That's the stigma.
Out of your mind, right? Because you don't need the help, right? You know, you broke your leg, but man, I don't want nobody to know I'm going to the doctor.
Right. And you don't have to tell anyone. You really don't have to tell. Nowadays, it's not a bad thing. And the stigma is being removed. But I tell you this, that the stigma is so high among Black men. Black men are so hard to come into counseling. And I know it's because how we were raised or how we raised our boys.
I don't know if the statistics are with everyone else, and it could just be men. And generally, I think most men are pretty much the same when it comes to that talking.
Well,
I don't know the statistics on that.
Well, in my experience of counseling, because I have a great demographic of people.
All right. Talk to me.
I have a great demographic of people, but the hardest ones are and when Black men do come and they have that aha moment, it's a beautiful thing.
You know, some people they just you know, they tell everything. You know, you try to get something from us, man, you got to bring the pliers, you got to bring the boots and all that, because if you're going to get something out of us. And
this is why you come to professional counseling, because there is a method to the madness. You know what I mean? And it's what we call a therapeutic alliance. You have to. You've been holding on to stuff for so long that it has you depressed.
But check this out. You'll feel better probably after the first initial, then the second, because for a moment you're gonna feel foolish
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you just told someone all your business that you've been trying to keep concealed.
Uh-huh.
You know, so
Well, then the enemy within and the enemy without will begin to speak to you.
exactly. Why'd you gonna do that?
Yeah.
You know,
And that's when the higher version of yourself will say to you, because we need to be here.
got you. Yeah, straight up. I got you.
We need to be here.
Mhm.
I led you here.
Yeah.
For a reason, because you get tired of being at status quo, doing the same thing the same way every day, feeling the same way, and you know that there's more to life than this, and you can be free, but then you don't want to go through the steps that it takes to get free. Kind of like an oxymoron, you know what I mean? When there is liberty and there is healing and there's deliverance for you, and you have your ego gets in the way. You know, so set yourself free and beat the stigma and come to counseling.
Come to counseling, and you'll get exactly what it is that you need. And in getting that, man, you may not like it in the beginning,
right?
But don't push against it.
Yes,
because it will help you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you may not like it, and if you get a good counselor who will talk to you, not around you. You want a good one now that's going to, now you are sitting down. So I'm going to tell you this about what I see.
That's right.
Concerning you.
That's right.
You know, and they may not like
there's
it.
There's just an alliance there.
It takes time though. It takes time. It takes time to what has been said to you to help you when you look at it in a negative manner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not like that because people will deny.
Yes.
Until.
Right.
Then after you have time, I believe, to sit and think about it, because whatever conversations you have now, I believe you have it later with yourself.
Yeah.
I wonder if what she was saying was actually true.
Absolutely.
And then after a while, you say, well, shoot, I can kind of see.
And that's usually when they come back into session. So what did you think about last session?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're able to process. We're able to process through that
I was
stuff.
showing you a little bit of that while I was in here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So you will always benefit from going to counseling. There's going to be some nugget or something that's going to be said or whatever that's going to help you on the journey. But we know living in this life and we have a bent towards sin and we're all broken in different places that we're going to be disappointed and we're going to disappoint, other people, so when we're disappointed, we have to definitely make for sure that we fight that negative self-talk,
most definitely.
Because again, like that child will take the blame for it.
Yeah.
So sometimes even as adults, when we're disappointed, people let us down, we turn on ourselves, you know what I mean? And feel like was it something that I said?
Right.
Was it something that I did or did not do? So we have to fight, the self-blame game and don't let our inner critic take over.
Yeah. Why don't you all share with us maybe some, not necessarily the disappointing moments you've experienced, but kind of share with us how it is that you have handled those moments. If you had them, I know you have because I have, but how did you handle it? How did you come through? Would y'all share with us and, be a part of the show today?
Sure.
Yeah.
So one thing that we can do as they're typing in is to certainly develop coping strategies.
Okay.
Right. Develop coping strategies. And I like mindfulness because I spoke earlier about how your mind can ruminate and how we can have intrusive thoughts. You can be driving or something. The thought will come to your mind like you weren't good enough for them to come through for you, but mindfulness is going to take you out of that and put you back into that present moment. So practicing mindfulness, what is before you at hand, so you can ground yourself with mindfulness. And if you're driving, you can say something like, I'm in the present moment. The breeze feel good on my face. I see the car or the trees around me. Just plant yourself into that present moment that you're allowing that circumstance to rob you of. Just be present.
So you have to gain control of your thoughts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You have to gain control of your thoughts. your whatever it is that you're feeling in the moment, so that it does not take you to a place that is going to hold you long.
That's right, because it'll hold you too long.
Yeah,
it will.
If you allow your mind to do that. Philippians 4:8, for those that are believers, you stand on God's word. It says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good, a good report, if there is any virtue and if there is any praiseworthy, meditate on these things or think on these things. So now you got to shift the mind.
That's right. Shift the mind
from those negative thoughts into a good place for you.
That's right.
A safe place. Meditate on these things.
That's right.
Think on these things.
Yes, that's a good remedy.
Yeah,
it's
like we say, in many cases, we think more on the problem instead of the problem solver.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So concentrate on the fact that what you were in, you got out. Don't speak too much negative.
That's right.
Your positive.
What is the good that came out of the situation?
What's the good that came out? So, you should be better.
Yes. Yeah. And what is the good that came out of the situation, and what are my lessons learned from it? One thing that I found out as far as helping me with disappointments is, what do they say? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Or here it is, don't celebrate too early.
Don't count your chickens before they're hatched.
People will sell you. Oh my, they'll sell you a story.
The Brooklyn Bridge.
Listen here. And you're like, oh yeah,
you be ready to write that check out.
Listen here. And here comes the disappointment. So that's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Don't sell. They do that in football or something. They say don't celebrate too early.
Yeah, don't celebrate too early.
Yeah. And that's a good, is it college? Yeah. But it's a good lesson learned.
Yeah.
People can mean well, but sometimes people are limited.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we don't want to celebrate too early. We want to make a mental note of what they have said. And then, like Daddy used to say, put it on the shelf and see if it come to pass.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it, when you learn about an individual, I mean, I look at it as if they're letting you know who they are, and maybe you're on a different level, as you stated earlier before. If you're on a different level than what they are, I mean, and you know them, know how they are, so you know what to expect.
That's right.
So you have to maybe limit your time and limit your what it is that what you want to express it to someone else, because you can't do it to that person.
That's right. Or write it down.
Else. Right. Yeah.
Or write it down.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Or shadow boxing. So what she say? Oh, I was very disappointed when the doctor told me not to drive anymore. And how did you handle that? How did you handle it? How did you handle that disappointment?
That's a huge one too. I see a lot of our seniors actually go through that, because that's life changing.
Yes.
It's taking your independence away.
Yes.
Right. And then when you're ready to go somewhere, you have to wait for someone who may come or may not come and get you.
Oh, well, she know we coming.
You know what I mean? They may not drive the way that you would drive. Why are you going this way?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that's a shift in life that I can understand what she's saying.
Absolutely. And Marva Bozeman is here too. Yeah. So you all share with us how you have handled your disappointments.
Yeah. But I love to drive too much for somebody to say, here, you can't drive any longer.
Yes.
And you feel like you're doing all right. Little fender benders here and there.
Right.
So but I'm still getting around.
Yeah. And the main thing is that you have to know that your emotions are valid.
Yeah.
However you're feeling in that moment, your emotions are valid. But like you said, we have to begin to reframe our negative thoughts, because our inner critic will begin to do that self-talk, that negative self-talk. So reframing, like, what is the good in the situation? And I would imagine for Mom Trout, the good would be, I can't drive anymore, but I have people that would take me where I need to go. And I have a family who loves me and will be, you know what I mean? So just reframing the thought processes.
Because I look at it as if, hey, I have a loving family and not be so selfish in the moment, whereas you just think about yourself.
Uh-huh.
If you get out here and you're driving and something happens to you, man, we're going to be hurt.
Yes.
Right? Your family
yes.
members are going to be hurt. Your closest friends are going to be hurt.
Yes.
People are acting different than what they did 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Right? They
yeah.
don't really care about the elderly
They
anymore.
do.
If there's a little scuff on your
Ooh.
car that I backed into you or whatever, so things are different. So I don't want that on my mind.
Right. Exactly.
You know. So
yes.
therefore, if you have people that can take you around, go ahead and do that.
And it's a blessing.
Hey, go ahead and be chauffeur. Sit back in the back.
Yes.
Chill. You in the limo.
Don't look at it as a burden, but a blessing.
But a blessing.
Yeah, because that's what it is.
But
for,
enjoy
for
it. I want a driver now.
Yeah, so focus on what we can control, not what you can't control. What is within your control that you can focus on, and then create a vision for the future, because I started out talking about depression and how you have a loss of interest. You have a lack of motivation because you have allowed someone who has disappointed you to rob you of all that stuff. So now we have to regain strength. We have to refocus, like, what is my vision for myself now? Where do I see myself, and what steps can I take to get there?
Gotcha.
We have to wake up from the fog, because disappointment can hit you like a low blow and knock the wind out of you.
Yeah, for sure. If they rob you, get your stuff back. go back and get it from them.
That's right. That's right. Marva Bozeman says, I'm still driving. I'm praying that's a long way off. I have experienced that with others and do I understand. Yeah,
because I make sure she in by a certain time. If that's dark, if that car ain't in the driveway, where you at? Why you? I'm at the store. What store? Why you at the store at 6:30?
And that is love.
It's love.
That can be a little annoying because like you talked about earlier, the independence.
Most definitely.
You know what I mean? They've lived a long time. They're used to their freedom and their independence. Then they have someone who now is acting, the role changes. So now you have a son that is like, okay, where you at, and da da da.
You know what time it is.
So it's love in action. It really is. It's love in action. So we're talking about dealing with the disappointments and people who have disappointed you in life. It's going to happen, but at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we're okay. So it goes back to the introspection, going within yourself to see how you can handle the situation. That forgiveness and that letting go, and celebrate your resilience, because it didn't take you out. You were hurt, you was down, but you wasn't out.
And get over the fact that it took you this amount of time to get over it. Some people say that, I can't believe I allowed this to go on this long.
Yes.
Well, it has.
Yes.
And here you are now. You're alive and you're good and you have a right mind now.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So, press on, move on, overcome, and keep doing all that, and keep listening to Talk Therapy Live, and you'll be all right. I'm trying to tell you, am I right about it?
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Slow on that, but
So we don't want any bitter root judgments growing up to choke the life out of us.
Get your shovel out, get to digging.
Dig it up.
Pull that stuff out and plant new seeds.
That's right. Hey.
You like that, don't you?
You be listening.
The Lord just talked to me, told me to tell you. The Lord said.
Well, we love you all. This is Talk Therapy Live. Kimberly B. Healthy Emotes Counseling at 614-669-5115.
Say that number again.
614-669-5115 with the Honorable Bishop Marva C. Bozeman of the Great Assembly of Faith Church.
Glad
Come
to be
see
here,
us
y'all.
sometime.
See you next week.
Bye.